Hey guys, what's going on? It's Yoda Ninja here today, and I'm going to be bringing you guys a tutorial on how to install the Hyper 212 Evo onto your computer. Today I'm working with an AMD computer, however this tutorial will work if you have an Intel computer. Also, I'd like to apologize in advance for the audio quality. I was using the native microphone that comes with the camera, and my buddy's in the background installing an air conditioning unit into his window, so you might be hearing that throughout the video. Anyways, let's jump right into it. These are the parts that come with the Hyper 212 Evo. You've got the backplate right here. You got a couple more of these little shot things that attach the fan to it in case you want to put another fan on the other side. You have the actual piece that you slide through the heat pipes, expand it, and that's what holds it down to the backplate. Comes with all the screws you need, some Cooler Master thermal paste, some little sticky things, and the manual. But you got to be kind of good in sign language to use this manual, since there is absolutely no wording on this thing whatsoever. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so to complete this installation, all you're really going to need is some isopropyl alcohol, usually 70% or above. We got 91% here, a coffee filter or any kind of lint-free cloth, and a couple screwdrivers. I got two different sizes here. I got a small one and a medium-sized screwdriver. Okay guys, so to get started on this, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the screws that hold in the side panels. We need the back panel off so we can access the back plate of the stock CPU cooler that's on there now. Get that out of there. We obviously need the front panel off because we got to install the new CPU cooler. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that right now. So I know this isn't the best angle to be doing this at. I'm kind of working with limited space and limited quality equipment here. So what we're going to go ahead and do right now is remove the stock CPU cooler that is on this processor. We can go ahead and get started on that right now. So we got the screws out of the stock CPU cooler. So now what we need to do is disconnect the fan and just go ahead and pull this thing out. After that, we'll get started on cleaning up the thermal paste. Fucking dirty. Cool. Now that we have the CPU cooler pulled off, what we got to do is take our coffee filter, take our isopropyl alcohol, and clean off the thermal paste that is remaining on the CPU die there. So I really couldn't show you this because it was on the back side, but this is the stock backplate for the stock cooler that comes with this CPU. Nothing too fancy. What we're going to do right now though is install the new CPU cooler backplate, and then after that we'll get the thermal paste on and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so we're about to install the backplate on this AM3 Plus socket CPU. I want to show you guys something real quick. These are the two different standoffs. This one is for the Intel, the shorter standoff. This longer standoff right here is for the AMD CPU. There's a little comparison. Oh, maybe. There you go. There's a little comparison so you guys can see the size difference. So the way we're going to do this is we take the back plate. If you were to install this on a Intel CPU, you would be using this side up against it. But since this is AMD, we're going to be using the more flat side up against it. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw this on there. We're going to put the standoffs in through the other side, and then we're going to tighten it down with these nuts right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. You guys can see that I got the backplate installed here for the AMD socket. I'm going to go ahead and set the computer down on the back side again, and we're going to work on putting the thermal paste on and getting the new cooler. Okay guys, now that we got the CPU die all cleaned up, we're going to install the thermal paste. I'm going to go ahead and put a line just right here down the center. After we do that, I'm going to show you guys the little clamping design and which hole you're going to need to use for the AM3 Plus socket, and we'll go from there. Okay, so real quick, right here with the clamp that holds down the heatsink, so the way this thing works is you put this, through the heatsink here and clamp it down with these 4 screws. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so one thing to note here when installing this clamp, it's pretty hard to see here on the video, but there are 3 different areas that the screw can rest in. For the AM3 Plus socket type, you're going to need it to rest in the middle there. So all you do is you just push this up and scoot it over to the middle. Oops. So all you have to do is just kind of push this up, scoot it to the middle, and you're good to go. I've already done that with the rest of the screws here. The second thing is that this thing mounts like this. So to get it through the heatsink, what you got to do is take it into this configuration real quick. You go ahead and slide it through, and then now you're probably like, oh, it's not going to fit because they're so far apart. All you do is open it back up. So you need 2 hands to do this. There we go. Good to go. So now we can go ahead and get this clamped on, and that'll pretty much be the end of the video. Okay guys, so 2 things to note here with the HyperForce 212 Evo. First off is that this thing can move around slightly while you're installing it. It's got a hole in the center for the clamp, and it's also got a little peg that stands up that's supposed to hold the clamp in place. So be sure to have those aligned when you're doing this. The second thing is, when you install CPU coolers, you want to install in a star pattern. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and tighten down this screw right here. We'll tighten down this screw over here. We'll go up here, tighten down this screw, and then we'll finish off with this screw. You also don't want to over tighten. You don't want to crack the motherboard or anything like that. We went ahead and got this tightened down, as I said, in the star pattern. As you can see now, the cooler is straight. It's not able to be moved, so all that's really left is to put the fan back on, plug it into the CPU header on the motherboard, and see how well this thing performs. The fan is actually sitting right on top of the RAM here. I would like to keep this installed in a push configuration. I don't think I'm going to have any issues with the way this is, but if there are any issues, I'll just go ahead and put this on this side and have it coming through in a pull configuration. Sometimes pull configurations are a little bit better, just for the simple fact that they don't allow as much dust to rest inside the heatsink, so it's easier to clean out than a push configuration. Push configurations usually have to take the fan off to clean out the dirt. So, but as far as this tutorial is concerned, this thing is good to go.
Okay guys, so I hope you guys learned something from this tutorial. I know that the quality wasn't that great, but this is my first time attempting something of this nature, and I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. It really helps me out and encourages me to keep up the content on my channel. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace.